What is up everyone, we're back again with another video, and today is going to be my ranking for the Scream franchise. Rankings aren't something I usually do a lot of on this channel, although I would like to do a lot more. I just like to review the films before I rank them, and I haven't done too many franchises, although I have done the Scream franchise. Now this was when I first started YouTube, so if you want to check out my early-ish reviews that I started when I started the channel of these Scream movies, Scream 1, 2, 3, 4 and the new Scream movie will all be down below, although the new Scream movie is a newer review. I have improved a lot by then, but if you want to check them out, my Scream playlist down below there, and you want to see my full thoughts and details in that. Now this is going to be a video where I talk spoilers about each of these movies, so if you haven't seen them, you don't know who the killer is or whatever, especially the new movie, maybe it's time to just watch them and then come back. For those of you who have seen it, which I'm sure most of you have if you're watching this video, I'm going to say everything I like and don't like about these movies. Not too long on each one, but you know, a decent amount of time. Now I have done a spoiler discussion on a podcast about the new Scream movie with my good friend James and Ryan, and they are on a podcast called Off to the Movies. Now I'll leave the link down below for that podcast, and it's episode 96 Scream, and I feature as a guest on there. I had such a good time going over the Scream movie and the history of Scream a little bit. We delve into that. James and Ryan are such great lads, so I highly suggest that you get over there and start listening to their podcast, because they know their stuff about movies and they're just really good together, on the podcast. They've got good chemistry and stuff. I love listening to them, and it was an honour to be on there. So if you want to see all that, that'll be down below as well. Now I do think the Scream franchise is a pretty strong one. It's probably the strongest horror franchise, if not one of them, because all these movies are consistently good. Even the one that I've put lowest here, I still like it. I still think it's a very watchable film. So it's a fun franchise to watch, and I love trying to guess who the killer is. It invites the audience to play along with it, and I just think that's a really, really good thing to do with these movies. It's just, I love, seeing if I'm right by the end there, and I look out for things as the movie goes on. It's just really fun and a great entertainment value with these films. So without further ado, let's get into it with the 5th ranked movie on this list. First up we have Scream 3. I think this appears a lot on a lot of people's ranking lists, to be honest. They do think this is the weakest in the franchise, but like I said at the start of the video, I think this is a very watchable film. I don't think it's a bad movie or anything. It just has a good few negatives in there, but what I will say is I do like the location that this takes place in, mostly on the Stab movie set, so someone's messing around with the characters who are in the film, and of course the real life characters of Sydney and Gail Weathers and stuff. I think that was a really interesting dynamic to have. I think it's got a very good opening scene, like all these movies have really, with Cotton Weary being stalked by the killer and they're gonna kill his wife if they don't do what he says. I think that was a really great opening for Scream 3. And I think the two bookends of the film are where it's at. It's all in the middle really, where it doesn't quite, do it for me. But I think this is a good third act. There is something that really does piss me off though. When the killer is revealed to be Roman and it's Sydney's brother, which was interesting. What I don't like about that, it misdirects the viewer. It sort of cheats, because he is dead and you sort of rule him out, and next minute he was faking his death and he's alive and he's the killer. That's what annoys me about this film. Despite having a very good third act there, that kind of ruins it, which was annoying. But there are other good things going for this film as well. I like delving into the history of Maureen Prescott. Even though I don't like the dream sequences that Sydney has, I do like finding out more about her mother. It's not something we've really got into, apart from a little bit in the first movie there. But some of the things that really annoy me about this film, I mean, the kills are mediocre. There's not really too many kills in there. They're sort of all the same when they happen, but the one creative one that they go for really does annoy me, because I think it's when this house blows up or something and the killer is sort of got like a 5 or 6 step plan for this guy to be killed, and he has to count on a lot of things to happen. It's kind of a plan that could have went totally wrong if he just doesn't do one of these steps. It was a very, very far-fetched scene, and it doesn't sit right with me at all in this movie. We've also got too much comedy in there. We've got Jay and Silent Bob appearing. Carrie Fisher's in there saying, "Oh, I just look like Carrie Fisher. I didn't get the part because I didn't sleep with George Lucas," but it's actually Carrie Fisher. Yeah, like I just said, Jay and Silent Bob are walking past in this movie. It's kind of ridiculous when it does that. And I haven't even mentioned the Courtney Cox's fringe. Yes, not the best makeup and hairstyling that I've seen. I don't think this film won any Oscars for that. But overall, a watchable film, an enjoyable slasher flick. But I just think that it's the weakest in this franchise. So number 5 is Scream 3. Now for these next 3 movies, it was kind of a paper-thin cut because I like these 3 virtually all the same. I think they're all enjoyable. And it was really, really hard to narrow down the negatives and the positives for each one, and why this one is placed here, why the next one is placed a little bit higher. There's virtually nothing in them, and I feel like they are all as good as each other. But number 4 is going to be the new kid on the block, Scream 2022 or Scream 5. Now this may change on rewatch. I have only seen this movie once, and I've seen all the others 3 or 4 times. But there's just a couple of things that niggled me about this movie, which I'll get to in a minute. But what I do like about this film is the tension in these kill scenes is great. I mean, they don't have the greatest payoff. I wouldn't say they're the most creative kills, but the way they build tension in these scenes is so well done. It sort of messes with the viewer because you think a jump scare is going to come, and then it doesn't, and then you go, okay, this is going to be it, and then the director's sort of messing with the viewer, really, and when it does happen, you go, oh, I didn't expect it there. So I think they were filmed really well. I think the legacy characters taking more of a backseat here, like Sydney and Gale Weathers, Dewey, was a very, very good idea to let these new characters take central role, especially Melissa Barrera and Jenna Ortega as these 2 sisters, to lead the film on. And, having sort of a new dynamic going there, a bit of freshen up the series, and the legacy characters sort of being mentors to these other characters. And I know this film does sort of try to reinvent the franchise a little bit so they can go in new directions. And I think they can with this character of Melissa Barrera. I hope they do, because she put in a great performance. I liked her story. I got on board with it. But what I didn't like about her story was seeing these flashbacks of Billy Loomis. I think that was the biggest negative of the film, and they sort of make him out to be a good guy, the way he's guiding her on and being very sweet to her and nice and just being a very nice, genuine person. It just didn't seem like his character at all. That is my biggest negative with this film. But like I say, when it tries to reinvent itself a little bit, and it's called Scream because of Halloween 2018 and stuff, and it sort of plays on that. I love the way they explain that throughout the film, how the rules were going and stuff. But I don't think it quite got to its destination that it wanted. I think with them going into this and saying, we've got this new script, we can't not do this movie, it's too good of a script, I think they had just got our hopes up a little bit there. And I think the 2 killers in this weren't the greatest. They're not my favourite killers in the franchise or anything like that. They were good, but one was better than the other. But I just don't think they were anything special. That's mainly why this movie and the Billy Loomis part is here. So number 4 is Scream 2022. Like I said, could change on rewatch. Next up, we're going to have Scream 2. Now, this is the one that contains some of my favourite kills in the franchise. I really love the opening to this film with the couple at the movie theatre, and they're going to watch the movie Stab, which is based on the original Scream film, so a real-life crime brought to life in a slasher film. And everyone has got these Ghostface costumes on in the cinema, and they're all going crazy, throwing their hands up in the air when someone gets killed on screen. And the guy has to go and, go to the toilet, basically, and he is stabbed through the ear, through the cubicle. And Ghostface comes and sits next to the woman, and she thinks it's him. and she is stabbed in the movie theatre, but no one can really see it because there's that many ghost faces running around and stuff. I think that's a fantastic opening and one of my favourite openings of the entire franchise. Like I said, they're all strong, but I also like Sarah Michelle Gellar's killing this. You know, she's at this little house at the side of the campus where all these girls live, and that's a really well built up tense scene, I feel. But I also love Randy's kill. Now, that was a brave idea to kill him off so early in this franchise. He's a very big character. He knows all about the sequel part of things, which this movie plays on really well. I like the way they bring in the rules of the sequel, because it's carrying on from the original, basically, but saying, here's what happens in sequels. But his kill is all off screen, but it's a great off-screen kill, because before it, he's on the phone and he's looking around this campus trying to take phones off people and stuff, and the killer's on the phone saying, wrong guy, dead boy. And then he is sort of pulled into the news van and there's just blood everywhere when they open it again. I thought that was a really well done scene. Now, there are some things I really don't like about this. The killer reveal is good, but then it goes to an over explanation. Like, they explain their motives in every film, but this one just seems a little bit too much. And it's kind of just like, come on, in real life, you would just get on with this now. Billy Loomis's mother being one of the killers was a good dynamic. You know, that was a really good idea, I thought. You kick yourself for not getting it if you don't get it, because she's hardly in the film. It's like, what's she even doing here anyway? And when she is revealed, you sort of realise. Jerry O'Connell dancing on the tables. That's a bit of a cringy scene right there. But overall, Scream 2, I do think it's a very good sequel. And that is why it's number 3. Oh, and by the way, Dewey in this is just way too comedic, and he's so dumb and stupid, and I am convinced that the inspiration for Doofy in Scary Movie was taken from Scream 2. So, let's get on with the next one. Next up, we have Scream 4. Yes, 4th movie in is 2nd on my ranking, which I suppose is probably kind of rare in a lot of movie rankings, but there you go. Now, this one for me, I know a lot of people do like it, but this has my weakest opening of a Scream film, the movie within the movie, because you think it's something and then it's a stab film. I have mixed feelings on that. It's okay, but I do prefer all the other openings in all the other movies. But everything after that is such a fun ride. I think this has a lot of great characters in there, with Kirby as one of them. She is a horror fanatic, and I really relate to her as a character. I think she's one of the best side characters in the entire franchise, if not the best. But we also have a very something, you know, different here with the killer filming his own kills. I thought that was an interesting take. And we do have my favourite Ghostface one-liner here. I love Ghostface and all the stuff he comes out with, but this one contains my favourite one-liner in the entire franchise.
But if you want to be in the hospital, I'd be happy to put you there. In the fucking morgue!
It absolutely kills me every single time. Now, there is a little bit of comedy in this one as well, but it works for the most part. There are some stuff that doesn't land, but there are other parts that really do work. I like the black comedy in these movies. I think Sidney Prescott is at her strongest point now, and I really wasn't a big fan of her being a final girl in the original. I'm not gonna lie, I know a lot of people are, but by this movie I had really grown to like her and attach myself to that character and really cared about if she lives or not. So Sydney was a big positive of this film for me, but the best thing about Scream 4 for me is the reveal of Jill being the killer. I think she's Sydney's cousin, and she's sick of Sydney getting all the limelight, so she decides to do it herself. And what I love about Jill is Rory Culkin's character is also a killer in this along with Jill, but I think he's the weakest Ghostface, to be honest. He sort of just killed off and was part of Jill's pawn, really. And speaking of Jill killing people off, she goes into such a psychotic mode, and she even says, I had to kill my own mother, but she was no fucking great big loss. And it just makes you think, wow, this girl is just got no empathy for anyone. She doesn't care, she's gonna kill everyone. And even when she is taken to the hospital at the end, she gets back up and tries to go absolutely crazy and kill everyone again. She just wants blood, and she can play it in the big boys league along with Stu Decker and Billy Loomis there. I done a Ghostface ranking not long ago, like when I watched these first 4 movies, and I had their second just behind Stu. So Jill is a big positive of this film and one of the best Ghostface killers in the entire franchise. So number 2 is Scream 4. In first place though, no surprises, is going to be the original Scream. Now, this came out at a time where the slasher genre was sort of dying off a little bit because we'd had so many in the 80s, and maybe people were just getting a little bit bored of it. But it sort of reinvented the slasher franchise. Some people say for the worst, some people say for the better. I don't really get on either side of that. I just think this is a genius idea because the movie explains the rules. And what the rules of a slasher are: you can never have sex, you can never say I'll be right back. And that's a great scene in the 3rd act where Randy explains this to everyone. And this is kind of where they get the tone for all the other movies and what it plays on. And I just think that was a really great idea from Wes Craven, who does appear in this movie, by the way, as the caretaker. He's got a little cameo there, which is clever. He's got that Freddy Krueger hat and the jumper on. That was awesome. But Ghostface was born here. You know, this is the first time we see that costume. This arguably has the best horror opening scene, and not just the best horror opening scene, but one of the best opening scenes in movie history. Drew Barrymore was all over the posters, and then she's brutally murdered straight away there. I don't think most people, when they went to cinema, expected to see that, but this is just a non-stop thrill ride throughout. I think Billy Loomis and Stu Decker are just absolutely brilliant Ghostface killers. The genius idea of having 2 killers in this, I don't think anyone's seen that coming back in the day, and if they did, I would call you a liar. I love the way the movie throws you off when Billy gets arrested and the phone call from Stu saying, yeah, you got the wrong guy. Amazing. And if you kind of kick yourself for not guessing these 2 as the killers because they're acting like absolute psychopaths all the way through the film. If you go back to the opening, you know, just past the opening scene there where they're in the school and they're talking by the fountain, you know, Stu is talking about how to gut someone and Billy's looking at him saying, no one said you killed anyone. It's so obvious that they are the killers, and you kick yourself for not getting it the first time round. I love the way the whole 3rd act is like 45 minutes long, just in this big house. I think that's great. But Scream is just an absolutely brilliant slasher, one of the best out there. I absolutely love it. And it's gonna take something for this already great franchise to beat this one. Maybe Scream 6, who knows? But I just highly doubt that. A fantastic movie from start to finish. Okay guys, I hope you all enjoyed this Scream franchise ranking. I had a lot of fun watching these movies again, and a lot of fun with the new one. But if you want to see them reviews in full detail, they will be down below. Maybe I'll re-review them in future when the Scream 6 comes out, who knows, and give them better editing. But for now, they're on the channel if you want to see them. What do you think of the Scream franchise? What's your favourite? Do you want to leave your ranking down below? I'll reply to every single one of you, I promise. Take it all easy, guys. And I'll see you all in the next video.